F2P. Don't get faked. Watch the foot.
Welcome back, everybody, to Lackluster Gaming, the show for those who love to game but know they're mediocre at best. Today we're gonna go back into check out a couple decks that I would have used back in Arena 6, 7, and 8. I've been getting a lot of requests for this, so here you go, guys. But before we get going, big shout out to Mobile Freak for coming in first on Tuesday's video. I also just received this copy of Battlefield 1 Early Enlister Edition for Xbox One, and I just realized it's green, so it's probably gonna be floating a little bit, but I've got the digital copy, so we're gonna give that one away. More details will be coming on that, so stay tuned to the channel if you want that copy. So there you go, deck of the day is on screen, and like we were saying earlier, a lot of people have been asking for these decks for lower arenas, and I feel like I've neglected you guys, and I apologize for that. I know a lot of the new people at the clan, or I'm sorry, in the channel, are not in Arena 10, and I'm not the best player in the world, so I should focus on you guys a little bit better. So what I did today is a little bit different than our normal format. Usually I'll show you a deck, I'll show you a couple cards that you can swap in and out, but today, specifically today, I'm showing you one deck in the beginning, and then the next two matches are going to be the same deck but with different cards. So this deck in particular, the way it is formulated, it is using cards only from Arena 6 and below. So you've got the Knight, you've got the Giant. The Knight, what? You got the Giant, the Poison, the Prince, the Musketeer, the Minions, the Zap, the Bomber, and the 1 Elixir Skeleton. So how do you use this deck? Basically, I feel like it needs a pump after playing with it for a little while. So if you want to throw a pump in there, I would say move out the 1 Elixir Skeletons and throw a pump in there. But basically, you get your Giant. You usually want to start a slow push in the back, behind your King Tower or off on the corner somewhere, and you get something slow moving, either your Musketeer or your Bomber. You want to start out with your Musketeer, Bomber, or Giant. Start them moving up towards the tower, and then start placing troops either in front. If it's the Giant, you need to place them up in front, and then everything else behind it to support the Giant, allowing the Giant to tank, just as you've seen I've done there. And there's a lot of different little tips and tricks to this deck that we probably aren't going to get into, and a lot of it is going to be experience based, but here you go. We've got this guy's starting to understand my defense, and that's why he's dropping that poison to take out those skeletons, because they work really good at taking out big tanks. And then we know that he likes to use the Skarmy, so you want to hover your Zap or drop your poison to take out the Skarmy if they continuously use Skarmy, or Minions to take out your Giant. So you got two great cards to counter your opponent's defenses. And then you got a bunch of other stuff that just do tons of damage. Typically, if you can get a Giant and a Prince to the tower, it's pretty much game over unless they have something miraculous that can stop it. But as you can see on screen, we're doing pretty good. It's pretty much a tie game, but he's coming in, he's got a Hog Rider, and this guy's not pig pushing correctly. He's placing his pig a little too early, so it's not pushing the troop in front of him so that troop tanks for the Hog, and I think that's his primary mistake. But this, like, check that out. The Prince is just such a DPS dealer, and it's pretty tanky as well, so it's really hard to deal with if you're battling against one. You know, don't drop your minions unless they've dropped their poison already, or until after they've dropped their poison, or if you know your opponent has an Ice Golem and a Zap spell, or an Ice Spirit and a Zap spell, you want to make sure that you're dropping your minions behind other troops so that they can't double tap them and knock them out completely, because they're only the 3 elixir minions, so it's really difficult for them to do a ton of work. So let's move on to the deck that we can use after Frozen Peak. So here it is, pretty much the same deck, pretty much the same concept, but this time, instead of the 1 elixir skeletons and the 3 elixir minions, we've taken out the 3 elixir minions and we've put in the mega minion. And in place of the 1 elixir skeletons, we put in the ice spirit. So the ice spirit's really like, you know, it's another one of the, if you want to use a pump, that's the one that I would change out. I mean, it's a great functional card. However, it's not 100% necessary in this. But as you can see right there, I tried to use it, but it got bowled out. I thought the bowler had locked onto the tower already. So that was kind of my mistake, but, you know, it's kind of one of those decks that you gotta really play with for a couple of matches before you really get the hang of it, especially if you're not used to using a giant beatdown deck, and I particularly am not. In fact, the giant is probably my worst card. Now, if your opponent has a pump, you definitely want to try and take it out. I would suggest trying to poison it out. I know it doesn't always take out the pump completely, but it will prevent your opponent from maintaining an elixir advantage over a long period of time. So here we got this guy. He's got a bowler and elite barbarians. I threw that ice spear just to freeze them up, not to extend the life of the giant, but to extend the life of the musketeer for defensive purposes. So I knew the giant was as good as dead with all of that on board defending against it, but I did not want those elite barbarians to return fire onto my tower. That's why I put that ice spirit down there, so it froze them up and allowed the musketeer to just bang them out. So this guy takes the tower pretty early with that hog rider. I didn't really have anything to defend with it, but you know, maybe if I had a pump, I would have been able to cycle back to another card. And fortunately though, that prince got to the tower undefended because he's using some pretty expensive cards himself, and was unable to get or anything out on the field to defend. Oh, it's Dante. I just realized it's Dante. I've been talking to him this morning too. But we got this Sparky. Luckily, we take out that Sparky. We get the Mega Minion to take out that Bowler. We have to poison out that tower. So if you got to spell out a tower, remember the poison is the way to go with this deck, because it does a lot of damage to a tower. I think it's almost 350 damage or 300 damage at tournament standard, and that's what this is. So I use my giant defensively here so that we don't just totally get wrecked by the new barbarians. And we've got this Inferno Dragon coming in. We get another hit to the tower over there, so now we are 12 hit points away from a win. So all we need is to zap, wait until the last second, and mash it out. And that's it. And Dante, hey dude, we'll see you later today, I'm sure. But thank you for this too. So let's get into another battle, part 3. So here we go. Now this one is into a classic challenge instead of a friendly battle. If you guys do want to add me on Facebook, the link for that is down below. Just add me if you guys friendly battle or a request for friendly battle. That's cool. I can't accept them all the time. And from the time I log on to the time I log off, it's just constant friendly battle requests. And if I accepted all of them, I would never get crowns from my clan chest. I would never get a crown chest. I would never be able to compete competitively or do classic challenges or even make these videos. So just be aware that, you know, spamming me with friendly battle requests over and over again may or may not work. You know, it all depends on the day, really. So here we go. Now we've got this push coming in. He's got the ice golem. He's got a hog rider right behind it. Almost did a proper pig push there, but the ice golem was just dead. And there we go with that bomber. Is going to do enough damage so that we don't have to worry about that musketeer. And he soaked up that ice spear. That was a bad play on our opponent's side. We're just going to zap out those goblins, no problem. And he's pretty much just spamming troops. I don't really know, like, exactly what his strategy is here. But, you know, and that works with big... You know, when you're going up against big, heavy decks, if you've got a very fast-paced bait deck to continuously apply pressure, but this isn't a super expensive deck. So, I mean, it's only 3.4, which is fairly average. I mean, it's on the high end, especially without a pump, but but realistically, it's not that difficult to cycle. So here we've got a bomber, a musketeer on board with the giant. Giant's banging out that tower. He logs out the bomber, which is great. But the musketeer was gonna get a shot off on the tower, but he defended nicely by putting down those goblins. The Mega Minion, this is why I use the Mega Minion. Right now with that Ice Spirit, he could have zapped out those. If I was using the 3 elixir minions, he could have just zapped it out right after that Ice Spirit hit it. So Mega Minion is definitely a really important card to this deck. It is super tanky as well. We finally get the giant to the tower. We're going to go ahead and poison right there, make sure that we do some damage to the musketeer and the tower. And now he starts out with the hog rider in the back, so we're going to freeze it up and put the prince down. The prince is just going to take it out completely. It does tons of damage. And now that we got the prince on the board, we're going to send a giant up in front. We're going to put the Mega Minion in line with where he continuously puts the cannon so that it takes it out pretty easily. And now look at that push. The poison's doing work. We finally get the Mega Minion all the way to the tower as the giant and the prince die defending the Mega Minion. And that's pretty much how you play the deck. Let me know if I was doing something wrong, or if you can play the deck better than me. I am definitely not a pro with the Goizen decks. I did not take part in the Goizen meta back in November, but let me know what you guys think. Give it a shot. I guarantee you, if you're using this in Arena 6, it will push you forward to Arena 7, 8, and if you're in 8, it'll push you up to 9. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. Peace out.